Today I want to take you into a small, quiet home where fear, faith and a miracle met each other in the most unexpected way. Our story comes from the Book of Kings, chapter 4. There was a widow, not a famous woman, not a wealthy woman, just a struggling mother who had lost her husband and was about to lose everything else. Her husband had served God faithfully. He had honored the prophet of God, Elisha, but after his death life became painfully hard. Debt came knocking. And in those days, debt was not just a financial problem, it was a family problem, it was a future problem. The creditor was coming to take her 2 sons away to become servants. Imagine that moment. A mother who has already buried her husband, now standing at the door of losing her children. She runs to the man of God, not with a long speech, not with fancy words, but with raw honesty. My husband is dead, you know he feared the Lord. Now the creditor is coming to take my 2 boys. No pretending. No religious performance. Just pain. And then something powerful happens. Elisha does not first pray. He does not first shout. He does not first promise her a miracle. He asks her a simple but uncomfortable question. What do you have in your house? Not what do you need. Not how much do you owe. What do you already have? The widow answers quietly, almost like it is nothing. Nothing at all except a small jar of oil. Just oil. Not money. Not land. Not livestock. Just a little oil. Sometimes when we are in scarcity, we are convinced we have nothing. But God often begins his miracles with what we have dismissed as too small. Elisha tells her to do something that does not make sense on the surface. Go and borrow empty jars from all your neighbors. Do not ask for just a few. Then go inside, shut the door and start pouring. Think about that instruction. Borrow containers. When you do not have enough oil to fill even one. But faith does not start with seeing. Faith starts with obeying. So the widow goes out. She knocks on doors. She explains herself. She gathers empty jars. Not 1. Not 2. Many. Then she goes back inside. She shuts the door. Just her and her sons. No crowd. No public miracles. No stage. Only obedience. She lifts the small jar of oil and begins to pour. And something extraordinary happens. The oil does not stop. It flows into one jar. Then another. Then another. The boys bring more containers. She keeps pouring. The oil keeps flowing. The jar that should have been empty by now continues to produce. Until finally she says, "Bring me another jar." And the son replies, "There is no more." And at that moment the oil stops. Not because God's power finished, but because there were no more empty vessels to fill. This story is not only about oil. It is about how God works in seasons of lack. The miracle did not begin when the oil started flowing. The miracle began when she believed that the small thing in her house was enough for God to use. The miracle began when she went to borrow empty jars without knowing how they would be filled. The miracle began when she shut the door and trusted God in private. And here is something very important. The oil only flowed while she was pouring. It did not flow while she was sitting. It did not flow while she was worrying. It did not flow while she was crying. It flowed while she acted in faith. Many of us are praying for provision, but we are afraid to take the small steps God is asking us to take. We want God to show us the full picture before we move. But this widow only knew one step. Borrow the jars. Shut the door. Pour the oils. That was all. And that was enough. Another powerful lesson in this story is the role of emptiness. The oil only flowed into empty containers. Not half-full ones. Not proud ones. Not already satisfied ones. Empty ones. Sometimes what qualifies us for God's miracle is not our strength, our certificates, our experience or our connections. It is our emptiness. It is our humility. It is our willingness to say, Lord, I do not have it all together, I need you. When the woman went back to Elisha and told him what had happened, he said something very practical. Go and sell the oil, pay your debt, and live on what is left. God did not only rescue her children. He restored her dignity. He did not only remove her fear. He gave her a future. And maybe today you are listening to this and you feel like that widow. Bills are waiting. Responsibilities are piling up. Your plans look delayed. Your strength feels small. You keep saying to yourself, all I have is a little oil. But hear this clearly. A little oil in the hands of a big God is more than enough. The question God may be asking you today is not, what do you lack? It is, what do you have in your house? Your skill, your idea, your voice, your time, your obedience, your faith even if it feels small. Do not wait until you feel ready. Borrow the jars. Take the step. Pour what you have. Trust God in the hidden place. Because just like that widow discovered, scarcity is not the end of your story. It can become the starting point of God's supply. And when God begins to pour into your life, may you be bold enough to bring him many empty jars.